So why aren't black men and black women connecting? Um, had a conversation with another YouTube member a couple of weeks back about this, so I decided I'll do a video on it. And I think, to be clear, that we now exist in a world where it's two different cultures. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, right? That's where I spent my early childhood and my, childhood years and even my early teens. So that's what I look back to. And I always remember there being this sense of oneness, in the sense that, the black community both encompassed the men and the women. And if you even go back to the early 90s, I remember this, where they had this movement, this proactive movement. Right around the time when Denzel did Malcolm X, you had Different World. So there was this movement where it was okay, people being proactive, there wasn't this gap, there wasn't this difference. That's what I remember. And tell me if I'm wrong, but that's just how I see it. That may have not been the case, but based on how old I was at the time, that's how I remember it to be. But the way I look at things now in 2009, it feels like, I don't want to say there is, but it feels like it's two different things, right? If I come through and say, yeah, I'm a black male, and she comes through and says I'm a black female, I feel like we're coming from two different cultures. We believe two different things. We're going after two different things. So why would this lead to a disconnect? Well, it's two different cultures, right? Why should I give a black woman, preference if we're coming from two different backgrounds? If she feels like the world treats her differently than it does me, or if she blames me for her troubles. So the way I look at it now, it's like, if I meet, a non-black chick versus a black chick, I can't, even though I want to give preference to the black chick, I can't do that anymore. Right? You can call this the Beyonce generation, call it whatever you want to call it, but how could you? Right? Because you have a black woman culture, whether we like it or not, that is designed to say, hey, when we do well, it's because we weren't held down by black men. But if we fail and we don't do well, it's because of the men in our lives. We've seen it all the time. Let a black woman succeed, she did it on her own. She rose to the top by herself. Let her fail, oh, it's the men in my life. Or, somebody let me down. It happens all the time. Right? Don't let a black man succeed because, they're trying to cut and paste whatever female they can paste. Because that's the only way we can get better. So we have this sort of cultural divide. Where does it stem from? I don't. We can sit here and talk about it forever, but the fact remains that it means two different things. And we're trying to fight, and we're trying to act like there's this oneness, but the oneness isn't there. It just isn't. Then you have to factor in the fact that you do have the emergence of a black middle class who has different values, who has different cultural norms. You have the influx of first generation Africans in this country, which I am. So the black population, the black community is more diverse than we want to think it is. It's not just one cookie cutter image of black people. There's just so many different variations of us. You have the rise of the biracial mixed class, so you have so many dynamics. So there isn't just one universal black culture anymore. It just isn't. I don't feel that connect. I just don't feel it. I can sit down and talk with a black sister. A part of me wants to feel like we're on the same page. But, nah. Right? How can I be on the same page when she blames me for her downfall? Right? When she does well, when she succeeds, it's because I'm not around. But if she does badly, it's because I'm around. How can I connect with you? Or why should I give you preference? Excuse me. Yeah, there used to be a time where a black man could walk in a room, a woman from, everywhere, and he would seek the black woman simply because they had, more in common. But now I don't feel that way. It's just like, well, you know what? I'm going to accept everybody's applications and I'm going to sort it out. Black women always talk about how they feel kind of upset simply because, black men are the men that they feel like they connect with the most. But I don't even believe that anymore. I believe that it's more so they don't have the options. I don't really believe that it's because they can only connect with a black man on a deeper level. Like, we don't come from the same culture anymore. So I feel like they complain simply because they don't have the other options. Or they can't as easily, find somebody of a different race. It's not easy for black men either, but, it's becoming more acceptable. And therefore it's becoming a little bit more easier to step out the race. Right? You have non-black women from all walks of life, whether we like it or not, who specifically look for black men. And it's growing. You have Obama, and you have, you have so many social conditions that are slowly starting to make proactive, educated black men more acceptable. So they will be more desirable by non-black women. So you have the rise of this going on. Right? So I just don't believe it anymore. I had a good conversation with my boy over the weekend, and I just don't really, get this sense of, oh, you know what, black women are really suffering because no other group of men can understand them like the black men can. I'm like, you know what, if this was the 90s, 80s, I would have been all for it. But I don't believe that strongly anymore. Right? The complaining, the bickering, that comes from the fact that she can't go out and do her own thing. So she's forced, I guess, to stick around with us. Right? So I'm not going to feel guilty, for not giving black women preference when we're coming from two different cultures. And secondly, the fact that, she's complaining about black men not sticking around simply because she doesn't have the other options. Right? As a black man, whether I like it or not, I can turn on the TV, whether I like it or not. I could be attracted to women that, historically, I wasn't supposed to have. And I could actually go out and search for that. I'm not saying it's easy, but I can search for it. Right? So I can go talk to an Asian chick. I can go talk to, chicks from different races. I'm not saying it's easy, but I have that opportunity. Right? But a lot of black women don't. She can't wake up, turn on the TV and find Brad Pitt attractive and go out and try to find a Brad Pitt. Right? But a black man, in the sense that he can find Angelina attractive, Angelina Jolie, he may not find her exactly, but, he'll find something in that realm. So at the end of the day, I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore, but I just really feel like we just come from two different cultures. So we're not making a cultural connection by default anymore. You can't stick a black man and a black woman in a room and expect them to connect simply because we're from two different cultures. Black culture in itself has different people within it in terms of, lower class poverty, middle class, upper class. You have Africans, firstborn Africans in America. You have the biracial class that's on the rise. So you have so many different dynamics going on. So how can we automatically assume that, we're just going to connect because we're black? So tell me how you feel. I went a little bit too long on this one, but tell me how you feel. Peace.